All right, this is the activity synthesis. So this is from the previous section. So a point has positive y coordinates. So I am looking at this and I know that this is going to be positive numbers, right? And also going up is going to be positive numbers. And then I'm going to switch colors. I know that this is going to be negative numbers. So this x-axis is negative numbers, and this is going to be negative numbers as well. So when I am writing a coordinate, we know that when we write out coordinates, choose a note of the color, when we write out coordinates, it is x, comma, y. So x is going to be side to side, horizontally, and y is going to be up and down. So now we're going to write the coordinates of each. So for here, I'm going to do which x is going to be positive or negative. I'm looking at here, and I know red means positive. So I'm going to put positive here. And then I'm going to look at the y. So for the y, it's going to be positive as well. So for the first coordinates, I know for the first quadrant, I know that my coordinates are going to be positive, positive. So this is actually, all right, so for this, quadrant 2, I know that my x-axis is going to be what? It's blue, so it is negative. So I'm putting negative here. So what is going to be my y-coordinate? What is the y that is touching this coordinate? It's a positive, right? Because it's going up. So this is going to be plus. So next, I know that quadrant 2 is going to be negative, comma, positive. The x is going to be negative and the y is going to be positive. All right, so we're going to go on quadrant 3. So quadrant 3, the x-axis that is touching it is going to be blue, so that is a negative. And then the y-axis that is touching it is going to be negative as well. So quadrant 3, when I see two negative numbers, I should know that it belongs to quadrant 3. So now I'm going to look at quadrant 4. What color is the axis that is touching quadrant 4? It is red, so the x is going to be positive. And now when I'm looking at the y-axis, what color is the y-axis that is touching quadrant 4? It is blue, so that means it is negative. So for quadrant 4, when my x-axis is positive and my y is going to be negative, I know that it is in quadrant 4. So let's go back. So a point has positive y coordinates. Which quadrant would it be in? So I'm going to look at, I know that y is going to be the second one. So I'm going to look for pluses because it's positive for the second quadrant or coordinate. So this is a negative, so not quadrant 3. This is a negative, so not quadrant 4. This is positive, so quadrant 1. This is also positive, so quadrant 2. So my answer would be quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. So now I'm going to look at a point has negative x coordinates. What quadrant should it be? So I know that when I'm looking at this, x coordinate is the first number. So we need to see which ones are negative. So let's start off on quadrant 1. Is the first coordinate a negative number? No. So it's not going to be quadrant 1. So quadrant 2, is this a negative number? Is it blue? Yes, so quadrant 2 is going to be an answer. So I'm going to go check quadrant 2 for now. And then I'm going to look at quadrant 3. So quadrant 3, remember, x is going to be negative. So is this a negative symbol? Yes. So quadrant 3 is also an answer. I'm going to check it. So next, quadrant 4. I'm going to look at quadrant 4. Quadrant 4, the x should be negative because that's what the question is asking. Is it a negative number? No, so quadrant 4 is not. So I am done with that question. So now we're going to look at negative y coordinate. So I'm going to look at the second number because remember, the first number is x, the second number is y. So I'm just going to look at negative. The second one should be negative. So this is positive, so quadrant 1 is out. This is positive, quadrant 2 is out. This is negative, so I have quadrant 3. And then this is also negative. The y has to be negative, so quadrant 4. So I'm going to go ahead and mark quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So the next one, I'm going to use the graph down here. So A point has a positive x coordinate. Which quadrant would it be in? So I'm going to use this one. So I remember x and y. So my first one is going to have to be a plus. So I'm looking quadrant 1, the first one is a plus. I should use red, I'm sorry. So first one is a plus. So quadrant 1 qualifies. Is this a plus? No, so this isn't it. So positive x coordinate, remember positive x, this should be a plus. So this is this a positive? No, cross it out. So I'm looking at this. Quadrant 4, is this a positive? Yes. So the answer would be quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. And that would be your activity synthesis and